California takes a swing at Texas, a redistricting showdown with control of Congress on the line.
They took an action in Texas and we're responding to it.
Plus, stop ordered. A judge blocks expansion at Alligator Alcatraz and bans new detainees from being brought inside. And Donald Trump thanks troops in D.C. with burgers and pizza and a hint at the next city he wants to federalize. The stories that matter, clear and credible, from across the country to around the world. These are your unbiased updates from Straight Arrow News. Good morning, I'm Craig DeGrelli. We begin in California, where Democrats just fired back at Texas, passing a sweeping redistricting plan designed to elect more Democrats to Congress. Governor Gavin Newsom signed the bill yesterday after a fast-track vote in Sacramento. He also called a special election in November so voters can decide whether the new maps stick. The move is a direct counterpunch to Texas, where Republicans, at President Trump's urging, pushed through a new map Wednesday that could net them 5 extra seats in the U.S. House. California Democrats say their plan would do the same, add 5 seats for their side, and shore up 4 swing districts.
This is not something 6 weeks ago that I ever imagined we would be doing. This is being done in response from Texas. This was not an organized effort. This was a reaction to an assault on our democracy in Texas. And we're going to continue to support those that are of like mind to get the vote out and to get the word about what this is all about.
Governor Newsom's move put him at the center of a redistricting showdown between the nation's 2 biggest states, a battle that could decide control of the House in 2026. But Republicans are promising to fight this in court and at the ballot box. Some critics say fighting fire with fire could ultimately burn down public trust in the system. A federal judge has slammed the brakes on Alligator Alcatraz, Florida's controversial immigrant detention facility in the Everglades. The order, issued Thursday, bars any new construction and blocks Florida from bringing in more detainees. The facility can stay open, but within 60 days, the state must strip out temporary fencing, industrial lights, generators, and waste equipment. The ruling is a major win for environmental groups and the Miccosukee tribe that sued over damage to the Everglades. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis' spokesperson brushed it off with a line saying, quote, "The deportations will continue until morale improves." The state plans to appeal, and the governor now says he is undeterred. 2 important court cases involving President Trump to tell you about this morning. First, a New York appeals court has thrown out the $500 million penalty in his civil fraud case. The judges agreed Trump and his company are liable for fraud, but said the $500 million award was excessive and violated the 8th Amendment. That money is now off the table as the case moves to further appeal. New York Attorney General Letitia James vows to keep fighting. Trump called the ruling a, quote, total victory. Meantime, the Supreme Court handed Trump a partial win in his push to defund diversity, equity, and inclusion programs. By a 5-4 vote, the justices allowed his administration to halt nearly $800 million in NIH research grants he said promoted gender ideology or race-based preferences. But the court also left the door open for challengers to win long term, signaling the president's broader crackdown on DEI may not survive. President Trump put himself front and center in D.C.'s crime fight yesterday, speaking to hundreds of police and nearly 2,000 National Guard troops gathered at a park police facility in southeast Washington. He thanked them for what he says is their restoring safety and touted the deployment as a success.
But I've never received so many phone calls thanking me for what we've done in Washington, D.C., from people that haven't gone to a restaurant literally in 4 years. And they said, you know, what you've done it's unprecedented, because what they said it was just unsafe.
Trump mobilized Guard units from 6 states to back up federal law enforcement, patrolling tourist spots and transit hubs. But the move comes even as city crime stats show violent crime down 26% from last year, a 3-decade low. However, the White House does not believe those numbers are correct. The Justice Department has now launched an investigation into the data to see if it was manipulated. Trump says this federal takeover is a test run, with Memphis likely next. D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser calls the move political theater that does not match the numbers on the ground. She says the federal surge is aimed less at violent crime and more at immigration and homelessness.
The request from the feds that was represented in the Pam Bondi order almost exclusively focused on immigration enforcement and homeless encampment enforcement. So I'll let you draw your own conclusion.
She also noted the surge has brought more checkpoints and masked federal officers on city streets, and so far no explanation why. This morning, the Justice Department is expected to hand over the first batch of Jeffrey Epstein files to Congress, but don't expect a full data dump anytime soon. The House Oversight Committee, led by Chairman James Comer, subpoenaed the documents after months of fighting. Republicans and Democrats alike have demanded transparency, but the DOJ says it will release the files piecemeal. The initial documents, due by day's end, could include FBI reports and material seized from Epstein's properties. Comer says he will move quickly to make them public, but he wants to review them first to protect victims. That's not satisfying Democrats or Republicans like Thomas Massey and Ro Khanna, who want a floor vote to force full disclosure with only the victims' names and explicit material redacted. Democrats call the DOJ's plan a cover-up. This morning, Erin is now a Category 2 hurricane, pulling away from the East Coast and tracking northeast toward Nova Scotia. The National Hurricane Center says Erin remains a very large system with winds around 105 miles an hour. Along the Jersey Shore, a state of emergency is in effect. Rip currents, high surf, and coastal flooding are all dangers today and into the weekend. Finally this morning, a U.S. Space Force mini shuttle is on its way to orbit, carrying out a classified mission for the military.
3, 2, 1, engines full power, and liftoff. Go SpaceX, go USS 36.
Those liftoffs are always so cool. SpaceX launched the unmanned vehicle known as X-37B from Cape Canaveral late Thursday night. The Space Force says it will test laser communications and new ways to navigate without GPS. This is the 8th flight for an experimental X-37B, a mini shuttle that is just 29 feet long with a wingspan of about 15 feet. No word on how long it will be up, but the last mission stayed in orbit for more than a year. A mini shuttle. I love it. That reminds me of when I worked at KSTP in Minneapolis. The station that I worked for, KSTP, used to shuttle us back and forth from St. Paul to the State Fair. A mini shuttle. It was great. And let me tell you, those Minnesotans, they think their State Fair is out of this world. Little dad joke and some fun on a Friday. All right, before we head out, here's what we're tracking today. This morning, a federal judge in Tennessee is expected to sign off on the release of Kilmar Abrego Garcia of El Salvador. He's the immigrant living in Maryland who became a flashpoint in the immigration due process debate and is now facing federal charges of human trafficking. At 10 Eastern, Fed Chair Jerome Powell speaks at the Jackson Hole Symposium. This is a big speech, and markets will be reacting to what he says and how he frames it, especially when it comes to interest rates. Also in the 10 o'clock hour, the Republican National Committee votes on a new chair in Atlanta. And later today, convicted killer Lyle Menendez faces a parole hearing in California, a day after his brother Eric was denied because the board says he's a risk to public safety. Hey, stop pretending to read the paper. We'll do it for you. Sign up for our Unbiased Updates newsletter straight to your inbox each morning. san.com/newsletters. Those are your Unbiased Updates for this Friday. We'll see you back here on Monday. For all of us here at Straight Arrow News, I'm Craig DeGrelli. Have a fantastic Friday and a wonderful weekend.